Hey everybody, welcome to the Black Tower. I am your host, your guide, and your brother, Sorcerer Armanasul. Okay, now, last week we did the Covenant of the Watcher. You know, we're going to keep doing this because we're going to keep, exploring this more in depth. Tonight I want to go over the Covenant of ENKI and the Covenant of the Fire Watcher, or the Fire God, I should say. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's a little bit rough here. Trying to put all this together, trying to keep it together in my head. You're going to need a copy of the Simon Necronomicon. Don't matter what kind you got. Anyway, you're going to want to turn to page 144. It's in the 50 Names of Marduk. It's the 39th name, God of the Covenants, Ara Nuna. Okay. This is Ara Nuna. So that you got the right one. Alright, Ara Nuna is the God of the Covenants, okay? So, you need to keep a few names in mind. Ara Nuna is the God of Covenants, okay? So, let's see here. Ara Nuna is the God of the Covenants. Nanib, who is the guardian of the gate of Saturn, actually witnesses all covenants, all rights. So, like I was telling you last week, you're going to want to have a inverted triangle, okay? You want 3 tea lights, or whatever kind of candles you want to use for it. It doesn't really matter. I use tea lights for it, though, okay? Now, the first thing we're going to be going over is the Covenant of ENKI. Now, ENKI is the god of the waters. He is the god of the double waters. The double wand of power represents not just the twin serpent telluric powers, but it also represents the sweet and the salty water. Okay, fresh and salt. You get the idea. Now, how did ENKI come upon this power? Okay, when Apsu was slain, he had within him the power of these two. Well, in myth, tradition, or whatever, ENKI went into the temple and claimed it and took upon himself the power of the waters. So he is over the waters of creation and the abyssal depths. Okay. Now this is important because you need to understand that at first ENKI is going to be the god of the waters. Now when you go into the underworld and the Ganzir, into the depths, oh, he changes forms and he changes names. He is then Namtar, chief of magicians. He is Ereshkigal's go-to guy for magic. That's neither here nor there, because right now we're talking about the Covenant of ENKI. Okay, so what do we need for the Covenant of ENKI? 3 candles, a marker, pencil, whatever you got, piece of paper. Draw your triangle. Charge it. And see the energies. You're going to want to sprinkle salt 60 times around the room, which is the number of Anu. Cleanse and purify and all this. Then if you will give me just 1 second here. You want to ritually prepare the area that you're going to be working in. So bear with me here while I try to find all this. I really should have had all this together before I ever started this, but oh no, not me. That'd be way too simple. And I'm just not put together right in the head for all that. Here we go. Page 99. Simon Necronomicon. Inushu Bam Gigapsu Kisha Giga Garshagda Sisi Amaraya. You want to have a piece of bread, some table salt. It takes just a small piece of bread. You don't have to get a whole loaf of bread or nothing like that anyway. So get your little piece of bread there. Sprinkle some salt on it. You're going to need a cauldron for this because you're going to want to, actually burn the bread and salt in it using a self-lighting charcoal. you have to do this outside, that's fine. I live in a place where I can't really do it either. I have to go outside if I'm going to do it. But anyway, you're going to want to build a small fire. And like a little cauldron, a little coffee can, anything you have. It really doesn't matter. Just don't set fire to anything. And anyway, you're going to want to do the Inushu Bam Gigapsu. And you're going to want to cleanse the area. Then, when you've said this, offer the bread and salt to the flame, to the fire. Let it sit on the charcoal, let it burn up. Okay? Once it starts, the energy's been dispersed, the offering gave for the cleansing of the temple. Now, then you're going to take some sea salt, you're going to sprinkle it in a clockwise fashion, 60 times around the room. Like I said before, have to use handfuls, just, a little bit at a time, sprinkle it around 60 times in a circular fashion. Now, what this is going to do is that later on, you're going to continue doing these steps, but here's why it's important. Because later on, when you start going through the gates, or you start going into the underworld, or even when you start going past into other gates, other places, from the ancient ones to the old ones, stuff like that, what happens is that when you're doing evocation, or you're doing any of these gate walkings and stuff, sometimes, just sometimes, there are things that are attracted to your ritual area. Well, you want to make sure that they have nowhere to hide, nowhere that they can grow from. Okay, they call this the evil larva, and salt dries up these shells, these husks that would feed off you, feed off your circle, feed off your area. Okay, that's neither here nor there, but I'm just giving you a little bit of information as to why it's there. Now then, anywho, you sprinkled the sea salt around the room 60 times. Sweet, then what? Well, then you want to light each candle one at a time. Page 144. Nuna. First thing you want to do is invoke. You want to invoke Nuna. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you use a seal, visualize it, pull the power inside you. I don't if it's a mantra, if it's a chant, if it's anything. But you want to invoke Nuna. And more than just invoke Nuna, you want to have it set in your mind and in your heart that you are wishing that spirit to be there to create a covenant. Now, this is important, and the reason why is because we do not give these spirits a reason or a purpose for the necessity of them being there. It may or may not come. It does say that they are far away and forgetful. And that's one of those times that they may or may not listen, but in the intent of a covenant, they will always show themselves. So this is what we want to do. So you want to invoke Nuna. Visualize the seal strongly. Okay? Now, when you felt the presence there after you've lit the candle and you got them there, hold the presence. Then what you want to do is your second candle, which is the top right. You want to light it, and you want to summon Nanib, or Ninib. And the reason why is because Nanib is the witness. Nanib witnesses all things done under the sun and moon. It's kind of funny. He's over Saturn. In the ancient days, Saturn was actually brighter than the sun and was seen as the sun, was seen as the center of the universe. Man didn't always worship the sun as being the center. At one time or another, Saturn was. Now, mind you, this was a good thousands and thousands of years ago. But the thing about this is that the guardian god, or the Dingir of the planet of Saturn, is Nanib. And Nanib doesn't just rule over the Saturn gate. Nanib also governs over covenants, agreements, things like this. When you fail to do what you're supposed to do, Nanib will be the first one to straighten you out and be like, no, I don't think so. Hold to what you said. Which this is a good thing, because you want a spirit like that working with you. Okay? So anyway, with your second candle, you're going to summon the nib. How do you summon a spirit? Well, you know how you invoked? Well, to summon it is, I call forth unto thee, Nanib. Come thou, O great spirit, O great God, guardian of the gate of Saturn. Come. come and stand witness to this covenant. And he will come. And when he does, go on to your third candle. Now, the third candle, this is where this is interesting. The third candle, the very bottom one, is the spirit that you're calling to create the covenant with. And in this case, it is ENKI. Now, ENKI, once again, being over the waters and everything, I've already explained this of why we're doing this. Anyway, so you're going to call forth ENKI, and you're going to make a covenant agreement. Now, when would you do this? You would do this during the dark of the moon. The reason why the dark of the moon is because during the dark of the moon, it's in your subconscious. It's at the root. It's in the underworld. It's where your shadow lies. It's where the power is, okay? So you're going to want to do this during the first through third night of the dark of the moon. I like to do mine on the second night of either full or dark because it's kind of like a zenith. It's the apex of it. It's, the true middle point. Anyway, it doesn't matter which. Just remember, it's the dark of the moon for ENKI. And then when it comes down to it, you're going to be making the call to ENKI. Now, I did write up a call to ENKI, and I'm going to share it here. Feel free to make your own. This is one I did, okay? Great and mighty ENKI, master of magicians, god of the waters. 'Tis thee that I call, 'tis thee that I summon thee before me, to make an everlasting covenant with thee. As it is written, so shall it be. Now, one of the things I forgot to say is that you will need your Agamasaratu, and you're going to want to fill it with just a little bit of water. But, you want at least an inch of water in your Agamasaratu. Because the Agamasaratu is not just the food bowl of your watcher. It's your offering plate. It's where you consecrate water. It's where you consecrate oils. It's just used to hold and empower whatever it does hold, so that the gods can take from it, and so that the gods can put into it. So the Agamasaratu is actually a very sacred bowl or container. Okay. Anyway, so having put at least an inch of water in the Agamasaratu, you're going to want to dip your hands in it. And you're going to want to wash your hands with the water that's in it. It says, wash me. You want to take some of the water. You're going to want to wash your feet and say, cleanse me. Then you're going to want to take some of the water and you're going to want to run it through your hair, run it through your head, touch your forehead, run it backwards. Do this 2, 3, 4 times. Really doesn't matter. 4 times is fine, because 40 is the number of ENKI, and therefore it's still keeping in it, and it's not taking anything away from it. Anoint me as thy priest. When you've done this, take up the bowl in both hands, head lightly bowed to where forehead is level with the side of the Agamasaratu. Mighty ENKI, before thee am I raised, thy priest upon this earth. As it is written in the covenant, I stand before thee, O Aranuna, as priest of the waters of ENKI. Write it, Great Spirit. I stand before thee, O Nenib, as priest of ENKI. Witness it, Great Spirit. Then in solemnity, face looking forward, bowl center of chest. So is the covenant of the dagger and water complete, O ye mighty gods. You then blow out the candles, starting from the candle of ENKI, candle of Nenib, and the candle to Aranuna. You thank them. Thank each of them as you're blowing out the candle. thank them for their role. And what you're going to do is, of course, you're going to thank the powers, close down your ritual area, fumigate it, leave an offering of incense, whatever you wish to do. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to create an atmosphere of power, of strength, and of service. Now, yeah, of course, it could be for a lot of things. But I want to go a little bit over the covenant of ENKI, why it is so important, why it really is a deal. Okay? In the necronomicon, it tells you that that the priest governing over the elements, unless you make a covenant or an agreement with the gods who are over these elements, then in a sense you do not have mastery or control or authority to command them. Same thing goes with anything else. So when you create this covenant, when you create this agreement, you are, before ENKI, making an agreement to be his priest, so that any works to do with water, whether it's through cleansing, purification, exorcism, banishing, anything like that, you have his divine authority, his divine power. Now, one of the interesting things about about doing the covenant with ENKI is that it is enough that the priest, upon having made an agreement with the god, is then able to just take water, place it in the agamos, hands over it in an upright triangle, push power into it, and just vibrate the name of ENKI 40 times. And the water becomes charged and blessed and consecrated to power. And you say, oh, I could do that on my own. Yeah, try it. It comes out a whole lot different. It's a lot more powerful when you have made an agreement, when you have made a pact. Your agreement isn't for servitude or like you're going to worship an door and, blah, 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 no other God before you. It's not like that. You're agreeing to work with ENKI because you need to understand ENKI represents what you're working to attain yourself to become the master of magicians. You're not worshiping ENKI, and later on you're not worshiping Namtar. You're worshiping yourself as an embodiment of the master of magicians, of becoming this master. Okay? So that's why we do that. That's probably a little bit too much information, I don't know. But I always find it best to, the more in depth you can get with it, the more real it feels to you, the more you put yourself out there, the more real it is, the more real it becomes. Like for example, me doing these videos and things, I don't care about I don't care if I get hatred or guff off this, anything like that. I don't do it for the attention or the notoriety. I do this because I love it. I do this because each of you are my brothers, sisters, friends. We're all one big family. We don't have to be blood. We don't have to be kin. We never even have to actually physically meet each other, and we're still family. We're still bound one to another. This giant web of creation. And all I'm doing is trying to share with you what I know. I'm not the great and mighty Pumbaa. I don't know everything and anything, and oh, I'm so great. No. I know myself. I know who I am. I know what I am. I know what I'm about and what I'm not about. And, I really hope that when I'm doing these videos, I'm hoping that there's someone out there who listens to it, who watches it, who goes, wow, holy crap, I didn't think about that. And goes, grabs the book and likes looking at it. Because, that's the most important thing to me. That's what puts a smile on my face. That's what makes me happy inside. Is, when I hear people say, holy cow, man, that was really neat. I enjoyed that. I do appreciate that sort of thing. But it makes me feel better to feel as if, I'm helping give keys to people because I want you to be powerful. I want you to be great. I want you to be so mighty that nothing in the heavens and the hells and the great above and the great below and the great between can stop you. That you truly become magnificent, shining dark lights powerful. I want you to be these things. You know, devoid of ego. You know, because our ego, it is the key to our power. It is the key to who we really are. It's the keys to the universe. But it is also the key to our failure and our deaths. You know, when they say that, you know, magic is dangerous, here's what they're saying. To become truly great, you will chance the fires that will destroy you. They will either make you and make you stronger. They'll either build you or they'll consume you. And, you know, and that's why it's so important that, you know, you check your egos. Remember, you are the master of your shadow. Your shadow is not the master of you. Because, you know, if you're doing these rituals and these walkings, in Ganzir, you will leave your watcher behind to guard the gates to without. Whereas it says, the attack shall surely come. This does not mean that your watcher won't be there to help you, but you will be solidly placing this God that you raised from the grave, walk through the gates with it, and you have perfected it, you have cleansed it, you have purified it, you've made it a most holy, powerful tool, weapon. And then you're going to go and you're going to put it in the underworld, and you're going to say, guard the gate without. Let nothing pass that I do not allow. That is not lawful. Now, what does this mean in a mundane, normal, everyday life? It means you have raised your shadow self, your ego. You have purified it. You have made it a divine, holy thing. You have equated it to God of creation. And then you have placed it right back down into the subconscious, into the seat of your power, so that no attacks from without can go through, can destroy you. Because when you truly do it, and you mean it with your heart and your soul, it's not just psychology that you're working. You're working true, honest to goodness fucking magic. And, you know, I love these people who are like, oh, magic is so, it's so scientific, it's psychological. Oh, it just makes me a better me. Fuck that. I want to see what I can get out of life sometimes, you know. Sometimes I want, you know, sometimes I want some shit. Is that selfish or greedy? Hell no. Hell no. But I'm on this earth right here, right now, and I want to fucking enjoy my life. I don't want some glorified afterlife. Fuck that shit. Am I working on that? I am working on the godhood that does not die when the flesh dies. The immortality, yes. But I'm also looking at living this life, of enjoying it, of it being fulfilled, of having everything I would need and want, you know? And the only way to do that is, in a sense, work through your own shit. Because these things, the only thing wrong with them is the fact that they've got to deal with us and the stuff that we've been through, you know, everything from our raising to our nurturing to the traditions we're raised in, to having to break all this mold, all this crap, rebuild it perfect anew without all the crap that society's tried to put into it. We're rebuilding it. But why are we doing this? Because these are real powers that can do real things. But you're having to heal them. You're having to call them up. You're having to work through them and everything else. So that when you start to do magic, when you honestly are working magic, you know, the difference is, oh, you call up a demon who can show you where hidden treasure is. But for some reason, this same spirit that's supposed to help you find something ends up making it to where you have, like, all of a sudden you have surprise bills where you got to come up with extra money out of nowhere, and yet you haven't found anything hidden in the earth, or, you know, money come your way, and you're like, well, that didn't work, or that's kind of wrong. Why? Because that aspect of yourself, you got to kind of work through that aspect of yourself so that part of you that actually wants to go digging in the earth and find something can actually do it without pulling the crap out of you. Because, see, once you've healed and you've cleaned it, then it can honestly do what it was called to do. Then it can give you true accounting for its existence, and all spirits must give true accounting. You know. Well, y'all, I think I've bled on enough here about this one. Uh, in a couple of days, I plan on doing the going over the Covenant of Gishbar, or the Covenant of the Fire God. You love that. And then, of course, we have Enlil, and I will explain the Air Covenant. I like to think of these covenants as being more elemental than anything, and I think the most interesting aspect of it is the fact that if you think about it, covenants pertain to agreements that you physically have made, and since elements are the lowest on the magical realms and planes, it kind of makes sense why you would do it in this way. So until then, I wish you all happiness, blessings, peace. Great night. Appreciate everybody's attention. If you have any questions, comments, hatred, whatever you want, just put it down in there in the comments, and I appreciate it, I thank each and every one of you. Peace.